Good morning, my sexy souls. So go grab your coffee, your tea, your lemon water, whatever it is that you like to take when you're getting the day started. And let's go ahead and tap into the energies and see if there's any messages for you today. As always, just remember that this may or may not resonate just because of the general nature of this reading. Do not Cinderella this shit and try to make it fit, okay? Okay. All right, look at that steam. Ugh. Oh, love it. Okay, I already did tell me to bring out the Azathoth Tarot, so that's what we're going to start with, you all. I just noticed that I said you all. I never say you all. I say y'all because of where I'm from. So I feel like, and then the dialogue in my head was that's from somewhere else. And I was like, I must be channeling for somebody who is not all that southern. I mean, what? Not hip to the culture of that? All right, let's get to going. If you hear me breathing heavy, that's how I, ooh baby, channel the energies that keeps me in check and in tune. Okay, guys? So do apologize, but we all have our own little things. Oof, baby girl. I swear to God that was not me. I don't say that shit. Anybody who watches my channel knows I don't do that. I literally just went, whew, baby girl. So I got somebody's spirit. Guys coming through. Alrighty. Alrighty. Okay, we're going to get started. As y'all remember, or if you're new to my channel, let me just explain. I don't necessarily do actual spreads, okay, guys? I just let the cards give me a story and I relay the message, okay? But whenever I have a middle card with an even number of cards on each side, then the middle card becomes the overall energy. And we've got the Two of Swords, which is literally got at the top of it called peace. All right, the Two of Swords is trying to define the truth of the situation, your truth in that particular situation. Anytime I have two swords that butt ends like this, instead of crossing, it's having two different truths and trying to determine which one is yours in that moment, in that circumstance, so that you can make a decision. I think the two truths are this. It's either admitting defeat, Five of Swords, or going after abundance, Three of Cups. It's either believing that this is not a path that's going to work out for you and just like wrapping it up and calling it a day and making a different decision, or saying, no, I'm going to keep going because I know this is meant for me and abundance will come. Either it's for you or it's not, and you're in the middle trying to figure this out. Let's get some other cards out here. New era elements. It's funny how in the midst of defeat there is literally, okay, they bring this to me. Look at all of the thoughts that are going on. And sometimes when we can't get the clarity of thought, when we have competing thoughts, and they're showing me this sword that's pointed down, which is, you got two on the ground. So you know those things, those thoughts that are going on in your mind aren't even remotely true. You got these up here, which you're like, okay, those could potentially be true. And then you have one truth that may have floated in your head that you're not really giving much credence to. It's pointing down. You're not paying attention to that truth. You're not speaking that truth. You're not even acknowledging it to yourself, if that makes sense, okay? And so when you have all of these competing beliefs going on in your mind, it's very difficult to find that clarity, and that's why you lean yourself towards just giving up. Because if it wasn't clear, if it isn't abundantly clear that I'm supposed to go for this, then it's just not for me. But that's not necessarily the case. That's I want to say it's not necessarily the case. Okay, I can't, what the fuck? Well, in the midst of just trying to shuffle 2 cards flipped over, so we're just going to take those because I feel like we're meant to. Your true strength is gaining control back over your mental realm, okay? We've got the 6 of Swords, or 6 of Air, what they call knowledge, right? And then we have the 9 of Wands, which is all about standing in your truth and owning your truth and guarding against competing or intervening energies, if that makes sense, okay? It took a lot to get to this place where you have the self-confidence. Don't allow something to pull you out of it. But 6 of Swords is all about, obviously, when you're in the 5 of Swords, there's this turmoil and everything else like that. And so you're going from like the really rough, chaotic waters into something more calm and peaceful. And in traditional tarot, you know, there's the swords that are going into the boat. They're actually pointed into the boat. And it's almost like putting a lot of the competing thoughts to rest, right? Because in this one, we're not even acknowledging a particular truth. We're not speaking it. We're not discussing it. And so I feel like there's a lot of swords, a lot of thoughts that you just need to put to rest right now, because they hold no real weight, if that makes sense. And so I think that that's what they're asking you to do with this whole, I might as well just chalk it up to defeat. And they're like, no. Get your mental realm correct again. Get control over that area of your being, and have confidence in what you determine with that. There is a truth in this. There is a truth that you should pay attention to. But I don't think necessarily that it is one that would lead to defeat. Over here, we've got a passion and a decision. Okay, so we're going to keep teetering and tottering back and forth between this. I think they're trying to help you work through this yourself, because there needs to be a level of ownership. If they just tell you take this path, I feel like in doing so, okay, let's just talk about like kids. I have kids, guys, all right? And sometimes I can tell them a million fucking times that if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do this, this is going to happen. You probably should do this. You probably should do this. And it's like they just have to fucking figure it out for themselves, because there's something about doing that then they embody that lesson. It really becomes a part of who they are at a core level, and so they begin to operate from that rather than, right, we're trying to teach everybody that. We're trying to reteach ourselves to quit operating from other people's standards, from other people's paradigms, from their truths, and to operate from ours. So sometimes the only way for us to know it's true for us is to really go through it and figure it out, right? And so Spirit's like, let me help you go through the process of figuring this out rather than telling you, because we don't want to encounter this as an issue again in the future. We want this to become a part of who you are, the way that you operate, the way that you see the world. We want you to see what your truth is in this scenario, okay? And that's the reason why we have the Two of Swords at this place. The Spirit's not going to give you a, this is exactly what you should do and believe and think, and this is what should happen. They're not going to do that right now, okay? On the side of the abundance, what's underneath this is a passion of yours, something that really lights your flame, gets something flickering. There's some type of chemistry that ignites within you, a path that you want to go after that just feels really, really good to you. You feel drawn to it, almost like bugs to a flame, bugs to a light. And then they're asking you to choose. Like, there has to be a level of choice. The Judgment card is all about, especially in regards to the abundance, this is like the karmic rewards for making the decision and choosing and heeding the call, right? This is your call. Whatever it is for you, this is heeding the call. And they're telling you right now that if you heed the call, there will be abundance. We're gonna find out about this, but they don't want to leave it there, because it doesn't feel like, it feels like when you're trying to determine between the two, I want to say there's always abundance. There's always a reason to celebrate. Three of Cups, when you choose what feels good and right to you, when you choose your passions, and that you operate in life from what resonates with you. Okay, when you choose you, period, right? Whether or not it's successful or not. By whatever standards you consider to be successful, I think Spirit considers choosing you and trying things that feel good to you is success. Now, you may not, it may not turn out exactly in the capacity that you think it's going to turn out, you know, or it's not going to look exactly the way, and you may have to tweak and twiddle and everything else like that, but energetically speaking, you're always operating and maneuvering from a place of, this is what feels right to me. I feel drawn to this. This is magnetic. This is meant for me. I'm choosing that. I'm always choosing that. That's enough reason for Spirit and for you to celebrate. Okay? Rather than allowing thoughts and patterns that don't belong to you to win out. Because again, remember, there's a very particular truth you're not even paying attention to. It's probably your truth. It's probably this one. And the two swords on the ground are the ones you definitely know through experience. No. But you're considering some other ones. Let me get this a little bit closer so you can see this. You're holding these other truths and you're considering them. And you're like, does this one go by the wayside or do I take it with me? Okay, let's pull some more cards. Let's pull some more cards. Alright, we are going to do the Sun Night Tarot, or Night Sun Tarot. I always mess it up. It's this deck, this deck. Now see, all I'm doing, I don't know what it is about this morning, but all I'm doing is shuffling and a card comes out in the midst of shuffling. I wasn't even, I was just, oh, for crying out loud. Oh, they want me to keep this. Okay. So this came out like this. There was this, and then there was this. This one was hidden. Okay. Okay, Five of Cups. This is looking an awful lot like a defeat, all right? In this particular deck, and I love it when decks do this, right? A lot of Five of Cups, you got somebody paying attention to the 3 spilled cups. Woe is me. That's all I can focus on. The areas in life that didn't work out or the ways that it didn't work out, right? I think this is talking about this here. Your passion, your desire, the thing that is magnetically drawing you, that motivates you and pushes you forward, that you want to go for. And it may not be looking or happening or developing the way that you anticipated or the way that you were hoping it to, the way you had planned it out in your mind. But instead of paying attention to the spilled milk, let's just put it that way, you turned around and you're like, nope, if these 3 aren't for me, then I know these 2 are. And I think that's what that is, because we've got 2 swords here. You're like, okay, so these aren't for me. And it's almost as if one of the cups, you're still trying to determine where it goes, right? You're not even looking at it. Let's figure this one out a little bit. What is this bad boy? Ooh, the Chariot. By knowing what avenues not to take, the things that you don't want, you do know the avenues to at least try. So in trying to bring this passion or follow this passion, whatever it may be, we're not going to pigeonhole this. It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing, it could be a career, it could be whatever, right? Self-development, what the fuck ever. In an attempt to go after what you are being magnetically drawn to and choosing it, there's a myriad of ways that we could exercise and go about something, right? There's a myriad of ways that we can bring a desire to fruition within our life. Not all of them are going to pan out. If you're trying to bring about a career opportunity, a small business, there's a myriad of ways that you could do that. But not every way is going to work out for you. That doesn't mean that that career or that small business, that self-employment or whatever it is, isn't for you. It just means you don't follow those other methods of implementation, right? And I think that there's been a bit of sorrow, a bit of heartache, a bit of, is this even for me? Is this one truth even for me? And in trying to figure this out, they want you to turn around and look. There are other ways still yet. Have you really exhausted all the means? Because we also have to be bought into the process that we're doing to bring something to fruition, right? So in trying to build a small business, if you don't feel the passion still, if you don't feel connected to the way in which you're bringing it about, that could impede it as well, right? And so they're asking you, have you really exhausted all the means? You know, obviously some of the ways in which you really wanted to share this with the world, whatever it is, the ways in which you wanted to bring this about in your life, those didn't work out. But have you really exhausted all the ways in which you could do this? Because remember, 9 times out of 10, this is an energy, guys. The wand suit, they just pointed something out. I have been reading this as the Daughter of Wands, the Page of Wands, the entire time, and I'm sure y'all are looking at me going, hey, ding dong, that's Page of Pentacles. There's no accidents. I mean, it's still a path. It is still going after something tangibly that you want. This probably does make it something more, even more action-oriented. It's something that you want to, and I did keep saying you want to bring this about in your life. That's funny. That's funny. But it is a passion, and I think that that's the reason why I felt that. It's a passion. It's a magnetic draw. It is something that you know is for you. It's literally about bringing this about within your life. Taking that path, that route, and choosing it for you. Okay. We're still on the same course, but that's so funny that they were giving me complete energy of Page of Wands with that. Sometimes I get to going and I literally don't even pay attention to what's down here. I'll be looking at this or feeling the energy. It gets exciting sometimes. Okay. Have you really exhausted all the means to bring this about? And when you realize you haven't necessarily, do you still feel that spark? Do you still feel that draw? And the real reason that you might walk away from this, is it fear? Is it because you feel defeated? Is it because the way that you've been programmed up into this point, or any past traumas you might have had in your life tell you you don't want to fail? Are you afraid of failing? And what is failure to you? Is it really afraid of something not working out and people looking at you and seeing that it didn't work out? Were you made to feel really shitty before in your life because something didn't work out? Probably had somebody in your life that said, see, I told you. Try to make you feel really stupid and minimal. So what's behind the you not knowing if this is for you, if it's still a truth of yours, if it's still something that you should be considering? What's really behind that? You need to bring balance into your mental realm so that you can really understand. Get that objective Queen of Swords type of point of view in order to really assess the situation. You know, pull out from it. Right now you're very enmeshed emotionally in it. And you need to see it a little bit more objectively and then determine. When you realize, okay, these are the ways that I am not to bring something about. Let's say you're meant to share a message with the world and you thought, I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to write a play, or I'm going to write a movie, or, okay, I'm going to start a blog. Okay, I'm going to start, and none of the things seem to work out because things in your life keep happening to prevent you from doing it. And at some point you're like, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe this isn't even what I'm meant to do. You know, like, how is this even really relevant to my life? Is it my truth anymore? Right? Swords. There are other ways. I bring my messages and what I know in my teachings through tarot. Not how I anticipated I would be doing it, even though I love tarot and I've done it since I've done it for 22 years. So I just didn't think people would want what I had to say through this medium. But it allows me to utilize my gift. It allows me either way. So if your gift is communication and putting thoughts into forms that help people grow, then maybe there's other ways you can do it. And by trying those other ways, you'll find out it's just as fulfilling because it is the energy that you are drawn to. It is that magnetic draw of. It's not that you have to deliver it in a very particular way. Some people are storytellers and they find out they're not meant to be actors. They don't write. They're directors. They bring a story to life. When you realize there are other ways that this can be executed and brought to fruition. Because is it so much that you want to be a writer? Is it so much that you want to be an actor? Or is it that you love finding yourself lost in a story because you can see yourself in that? And that you want to help other people discover themselves at a deeper level through various different mediums? There's so many ways you can do that. Let's find a way. So looking at this going, this is still a path that I'm meant to go down. It's still something that I'm meant to choose. I'm still meant to choose what's right for me. Abundance. It's not about the how at this moment. It's about just choosing you. And remember, when we do that, when we begin to, and I feel like these defeating thoughts is your human and your ego really trying to protect you. And so it's almost as if your soul is being drawn to one thing and your human is pulling the reins on something. But when you really pull yourself back and look at this objectively, and you know your truth, and you stand in your power, and you don't allow the thoughts of others or the beliefs of others to penetrate your thoughts, and you see the truth of what is right for you, you protect that at all costs, you're going to go after what's right for you. Is what it feels like. When you pull back and you realize and you see this from a greater perspective, you're going to see the way and you'll no longer feel defeated. When your human and your soul begin to operate on the same, when they see the same path ahead of them and they both buy into it, that's when forward movement happens. Take a look. There's other ways to execute this. And maybe, just maybe, there's no real defeat at hand. Hope this was beneficial. I think that's pretty good right there. I think Spirit got across their message. So, all right. Well, enjoy your coffee for the rest of the day. Let this percolate in your being and your essence. And I hope that, I hope it helped. You have a fantastic day.